Welcome to the C-Suite Sherpa podcast. My name is Brian Marshall. I'm your host today, and we've got a great guest. Her name is Iulia. Iulia, tell us about your business.
Hello, thank you for having me. I am a VP of Marketing at Agoric, the US blockchain company. We produce tools and technologies that power the Web3 economy. We focus on making delightful experiences on the blockchain. We achieve that with a product called Orchestration. It's an API, and it was created for developers. It removes for them the complexities of building experiences, applications on multiple blockchains and cross-chain, and we deliver with that seamless experiences for users.
So there are going to be people in the audience that don't know what blockchain or Web3 is. The reason we wanted to have you on the podcast is there's a lot of talk about crypto. We just had an election, and we've got a new administration that's very blockchain friendly, very crypto friendly. I'm thinking that there are a lot of owners of businesses, entrepreneurs that probably need to start getting educated around this. Tell us a little bit more about that. What is Web3 and why is the blockchain something we should be thinking about and keeping an eye on in the future? So if you can help us get smarter around what those things mean.
Sure. Let me start backwards. Very
Sure.
simply put, blockchain is just a more efficient technology to record and keep track of data. That makes blockchain specifically interesting for things like payments, transactions, where you want to have these records. We also refer to the blockchain as a ledger, where you enter data and then you keep track of what's happening to it. From there, different applications come out, one of them being crypto. But the blockchain applications are so much more than that. And different businesses in very different and diverse sectors have found applications on blockchain and have found way to gain more efficiency or transparency, auditability to their business by incorporating blockchain technology and technologies into their businesses. And with that, this concept of Web3 has appeared. And the Web3, very simply explained, is the next wave, the next generation of the internet, of the digital economy. It takes it from the fact that what we currently have, we refer to the internet as we know it today with the big data applications as being Web2. Web3 is moving those applications to blockchain as a technology, and it comes with its own set of principles, which we believe are superior principles and values on how we want our data to be put on the internet and how we want our economy to happen. And those principles relate very much to bigger respect to the individual. With that comes a bigger respect to privacy and to the utilization of our data. The idea that if you allow other parties to use your data for an economic benefit, you should partake in the profits and benefits of those economies and so on. Web3, we would like to say that it's the progress, the evolution of the internet.
If you think about it, I was involved in a company that pioneered broadband technologies. Back in the 90s, we were talking about high-speed internet and Web2. And everyone was going, I'm not sure what that means or how that works. And I have a sense that in the business world, we're kind of in that place we were back then, where people are hearing about Web3, decentralized finance and blockchain. Crypto is going crazy right now. Bitcoin at the moment is, if it didn't hit 100,000 today, it came really close.
Right.
And so I'm thinking that, I really wish that business owners would have woken up and realized sooner back in the 90s what Web2 was going to do. What kind of guidance would you give people like me or people watching this that are thinking, how is this going to change my life? What are some of the things that you see coming up that Web3 is going to cause change in business or change in our personal finance life, or any kind of guidance that you would give as somebody looking at the future?
Well, the first thing I would say is look at Web3 and look at blockchain from this perspective. Are you a company that deals with data at a large? And if so, then look at blockchain technology and how it can fit whatever you do. Now, I come from a more traditional sector. I used to work at PayPal, and before that at Google. So PayPal was a Web1 company when it was
Right.
created. They are basically moving their operations to the blockchain because of that efficiency in terms of what they can earn in terms of moving transactions and money. But it's not just about the money. Some of the things that excite me the most about the applications of blockchain to our real world are the applications that happen in health and in everything related to security, cybersecurity, food and drugs security, other applications linked to economic purposes like financial inclusion, applications in trade and finance, trading, and the ability to track different products. One of the most sublime applications that I've ever heard about the blockchain is the utilization of blockchain to track counterfeit medicine in Africa. And
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a huge problem, right? And there is millions of people dying from taking counterfeit medicine. And that's something that blockchain has actually addressed with success. To that, those kind of things, we add obviously what's happening in the crypto sector. And one of the killer apps in the Web3 space for a few years now has been the stable coins. So it's stable
Right.
cryptos that have been created, probably us in the US and in Western Europe. We still look at them as technology-based investment or money, but there are parts of the world like Latin America where using a stable coin to conduct very basic economic exchanges, such as getting paid and paying for your food, simply because the hyperinflation there is not making the current currency reliable. So people are moving to these alternative solutions, and stablecoin has proven to be the very successful one, where it doesn't fluctuate, hence it's stable, doesn't fluctuate like a crypto, but it comes with all the benefits of the crypto.
One of the things I love about the use of crypto today is, first of all, as an investor, the crypto markets are open all the time. You don't have to go through someone. You can easily trade and buy on a day when usually you wouldn't have access to the markets. And I also like the fact that it's taking the power away from the government. It's really bringing it out to people. That was one of the things that, the internet back during the Web 1 days, before Web 2, that we talked about. Internet is going to create, basically, the ownership of information gets disseminated to people. And it seems like we're moving this now in Web 3, that we're moving the ability to do commerce and trade and exchange money without having to go through and use a fiat currency, basically giving people more power. Is that a good example of where crypto or where Web 3 is headed?
I think that Web3 is all about that. It is definitely the democratization of money and of financial services didn't start with blockchain. It started a bit before. There are services like Robinhood and PayPal that offer, or any neobank that offers these services. Actually, probably a bit less in the US, as much more I've seen in Europe and Asia. They are much more advanced in terms of democratized financial services than in the US, but it's coming here as well. I think in terms of power to the people and decentralization, Web3 is all about that. Blockchain can also be very much closed, permissioned, and built for enterprise usages. So there is a lot of enterprises that want to use the blockchain as a ledger, a new way of keeping track of their data or of their transactions. And that wouldn't necessarily imply that we open up everything to everybody. That remains in the property of the enterprise, and it is what's called an enterprise blockchain, built specifically for the needs of that business.
What would one piece of advice be that you would give people listening to this? What's one piece of advice you would give that we should start paying attention to? Anything that you can think of that would be something that's going to change the way we do things?
I'm a marketer, so I am not an investment advisor. But as a marketer and a growth specialist, the one piece of advice I would give to companies in the US is if you work with data, pay attention to what privacy really means. Because privacy is one of those sectors, data privacy, have been in general ignored and sometimes sacrificed in the name of profit. And there are changes that have been coming for years. We see it with the changes in the advertising policies and in the consumer protection policies and so on. These changes are very much made to protect the individual. So it is power back to the people. It does mean taking away from what you would call liberties of the businesses, but it's giving back the individuals the power and not infringing any individual basic rights to privacy as well, and infringing them in the name of business profit. If you are a company and you are doing marketing, definitely make sure that you find ways of working with people's data with respect to showing a lot of respect to the individual and having the consentment and using the right tools and the right business practices that account for that. That's also the role of blockchain and blockchain technologies. One great example is the usage of social media. Most companies use social media. LinkedIn, you were mentioning in the beginning, but companies using Twitter, X now, are centralized companies, and their data, once the people give their data to them, they know it's their data. They are using it and exploiting it. There are now new social media that come from Web3, where the data remains in the user's control via very basic technologies like having mini servers that sit on the user's mobile phone, and your data remains your data. And what the blockchain does, it just creates a smart contract between the user's server, the individual server, and the business, and it allows through that contract the business the right to use that data to advertise in exchange for a share of the advertising profit or in exchange of something. But it is the user's right and it is a user's consentment given. And so, since these things are very incipient, but they become more and more popular, the market, the consumers will be the ones dictating that they will want that as a standard, and that will change the way we do marketing and business.
In short, the Web3 technology is really going to bring back power to the individual and take it away from, big tech. Big tech is they know they know more about us than we do and our habits. We no longer own any of our data. So is the idea that it's going to bring it back to our control?
Definitely information will be back in our control. Our data will be back in our control. I don't necessarily think that will take the power from them. I actually think that big tech is just adapting itself. I gave the example of Google that now is working on removing the cookies and changing their algorithms to be more privacy respectful. And that's one example, but the examples I was giving in the beginning on how big pharma is using blockchain technology to incorporate into their mission and activities and tactics. I feel like it gives us power as people to stand for our rights. And at the same time, the enterprises and the companies are going to benefit from improved technology that allows them to do the things that they were doing, but also respecting human rights better. I actually think that in big tech, there are very smart people that are very aware about what's happening, and they are adapting their business models and incorporating the technologies themselves.
I could talk to you about this all day long. You're fascinating. I know that the government's trying to break up Google, right? They're trying to take Chrome away from Google, and they're always attacking, or at least they look like they're attacking big data, big tech, in an attempt to make them less powerful. But you're right. They're smart. They've got a lot of resources. They'll always find a way to use that to their advantage. I appreciate you shining a light on this. We ran out of time a few minutes ago, but I just couldn't stop talking to you. I appreciate you helping us get a little bit smarter on this topic. In the future, this is something we're all going to hear more about. And I'd love to have you back on and have you help us get smarter around these issues. So I really appreciate you being on the podcast and being a guest today.
Thank you for having me. At Agoric, we have this vision where actually the world economy and the internet is going to move towards these blockchain rails that come with their efficiencies and superior principles and values. We are there to empower businesses to move on to these rails. We see a future in which all the businesses, everybody that works with data, will be incorporating this technology and will be moving towards in this space. And so I think that in time and with education, everybody will be much more aware about these concepts.
I would agree. I would agree. There's a lot of education. A lot of us got to get caught up on what's coming up, and things are changing so quickly. It's really hard. It's hard to know what to pay attention to and what's a passing trend, right? So, but it sounds like Web3 is going to have a lot of impact on all of us in ways that we can't even understand at this point. So combine that with what's going on with AI, and it's exciting and scary all at the same time.
Considering that we are stepping into the AI era, one of the most visible topics to everybody is that Web3 is here to stay, because once you have algorithms embedded in all aspects of life, those algorithms start to exchange data between themselves and to transact. And when that happens, they will not be using bank rails or ACH files from the 80s. They will be using blockchain rails. What makes me so bullish about blockchain? AI is just another opportunity and trend that brings Web3 even more surfaces.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you being a guest and look forward to reaching back out to you in the future. If people want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to reach you?
I think that Twitter might be the best way, at Iulia Mihailescu. That would be great.
We'll go ahead and post it on the description of this video so they can reach out to you. So again, Iulia, thank you so much. Appreciate you being on the podcast, and have a great day.
Thank you.